I think it's a great match. And I mean, I think that the world was super excited about it before it got canceled. I think we were all looking forward to that match. We thought, okay, here's another truly worthy opponent for Levan. I think it's probably bad for the sport to have such long periods of activity. I think it's bad for legacy. I think
We got to hear some really interesting opinion on the latest Fix episode. Opinions like Levan Saginashvili may only be a slight favorite against Vitaly. Ivan Metushenko may be a 60-40 favorite against Devon Larratt. Let's start with some of the interesting topics. Devon, as of now, is maintaining his weight around 260 pounds and he's feeling much more healthier than before. The loud snoring, the shoulder pain, the waking up repeatedly at night, these problems have gone. He's doing some table time, blood flow work, rehabilitation, staying healthy. And he's about to get into his training phase, especially on the left arm, because he has a match coming up against Ivan Metushenko. In one of the previous interviews, Devon gave his opinion about the Vitaly versus Alijan match. He's conflicted. He believes that Vitaly is a known quantity, but Alijan is physically enormous, especially his left arm. He admits that he no longer knows who is the favorite to win this match. Devon, in that interview, talked about some WAF bans. He talked about it being not necessary for the sport. He said it needs to stop. Why can't we all get all along? So basically, he criticized the practice of banning the athletes for competing elsewhere. Devon believes that the sport is too small for some political divisions that we are seeing right now. Athletes should be free to compete wherever they want. And I think that sounds logical because the WAF bans come without an agreement or without a contract, I should have said. Because Devon himself has been in favor of contracts since WL days. So he's not saying that the contracted athletes should be allowed to compete everywhere. He's just talking about the WAF setup as of now that doesn't have contracts. Okay, then the conversation in the Fix episode about Devon versus Georgi. Neil mentioned that Devon told him that even at this 253-pound body weight, which he was back then when he contacted Neil, he's going to crack Georgi easily. Because Georgi is just a mid-tier super heavyweight, he's not an elite super heavyweight. And I don't think there is any doubt about that, especially after seeing their previous matches. I don't think there should be anyone except Georgi Svetkov who believes that 115 kg Devon is not going to be too much for Georgi. And Devon isn't just saying this thing about himself, he's saying the same thing about Kamil Jablonski and Vitaly Laletin too. Devon believes that Kamil is going to absolutely easily destroy Georgi without any trouble at all.
Camille's gonna kill him.
No, how about you? You and Camille.
Ooh, that's
Me
a
and Camille,
dangerous.
hold on, listen. Now Camille is a totally different story. If I put Camille, I would much prefer to be a bit heavier. At 253, Camille is
No joke.
Dangerous.
Camille is not your mid-tier puller anymore. Camille is now somewhere we don't know exactly. Camille is gonna wallop Georgie.
And then Georgi has about 2% chance against Vitaly Laletin. Vitaly is just too strong. Devon believes that towards the end when Vitaly is going for the pin, Georgi may crack his wrist, but it wouldn't matter. The arm is going straight down. Judging by the way Devon was speaking about it, it looks like Devon believes Vitaly won't even need a flop press to beat Georgi. Just his side pressure alone would get the job done.
Listen, he might take his hand a little bit, but then it's going right down. Like I would say Georgie is a tremendously massive underdog against Vitaly Laletin.
Give me a percentage on that.
Georgie might have like a 2% chance.
They also talked about Rickard Bondman. Devon believes that Rickard in the future is surely going to be a world champion, maybe at 115 kilos, or maybe even in the open division if he gets too big and cutting down to 115 kilos is too difficult for him, which it already is. He keeps on talking about being in the 115 kg division, but he never cuts weight. And then Devon was asked whether Vitaly is the true, deserving, worthy #1 contender for a shot against Levan. And Devon believes that the answer to this question is a definitive yes. And the reason behind that is that Devon believes Vitaly is not your typical super heavyweight in the top 10. He's different. So it looks like when people say that there's a big gap between Devon and the rest of the guys, Vitaly is catching up. Now we can say that there is a big gap between Vitaly and number 2, number 3. Number 2 and number 3 are close, and then maybe there is a gap between Vitaly and Hermes Gasparini. I don't know. These are just my suggestions and my opinions.
Yeah,
I can't. I'll tell you, in my opinion, that was the strongest form of me that has ever arm wrestled when I faced Vitaly. Ever. And we had I thought that was as close of a match as I could have possibly had. It might not have looked it, but it sure did feel it to me. Closest, very, very close match. And I think if you can have a super, super close match with me and like he could have beat me, he did get a round off me, then yeah, of course, I think that's a good match. And I think that what he's done to the rest of the division, I mean, most people just get smoked by him.
And despite that, Devon believes that Vitaly only has a 10 to 15% chance to defeat Levan. Because in Devon's mind, no one has more chances than that. Not even Devon himself.
He's fresh. He's fresh and he's rested. And when he does, turn the gas up, he's going to respond and he is going to blossom like a beautiful flower that hasn't seen the rain and the sun. He is going to explode. And what we see right now, 8 or 10 weeks later, we're going to be like, oh, damn.
And that's when Robert Baxter said that Levan would rather pull Devon again than Vitaly. Does that show us that Levan is truly scared of Vitaly Lalatin? Because if he's telling the same to Robert too, then maybe there is something there. Or maybe Robert was just guessing and Levan didn't really project these kind of opinions to him. Anyways, Devon's ideal scenario for Levan on August 1st is they pull on the practice table in Batumi. Then after that, Levan should pull Kamil Jablonski in China. Then after that, he should pull Vitaly Lalatin in December. Devon believes champions should be active. They shouldn't sit idle. Which ironically is exactly what Devon did when he won 105 and 115 kg titles. And he still keeps on calling himself the champion of those divisions. But Neil Pickup was saying that Levan is only a 60-40% favorite against Vitaly Lalatin. And that surprised everyone on the call. Devon said that 60-40 is basically either way. It can go either way. That's how close it should be. And Neil still said that he believes that this is the true percentage for this match. And the reason behind that is Neil believes Vitaly is stylistically the most difficult opponent that Levan could possibly face. He even said that if you were to design an arm wrestler to give tough challenge to Levan, it would look like Vitaly Lalatin. It's because of his height, he's exceptionally tall, and that changes all of Levan's preferred angles. Physics will act against Levan. As of now, Levan just goes sideways, hits as hard as possible, and he gets the job done. Against Vitaly's long lever and his style of pulling and his speed and explosiveness, Levan may have to adjust. He may have to go back. He may have to do some things differently, which is exactly what happened in their first match too. Levan went sideways. He couldn't really get the job done. There was a foul on Vitaly, and then later Levan went back instead of going sideways. This is something that he may have to do in this match as well. Basically, he said that Vitaly Lalatin is the man as of now. He believes that Levan has a much higher chance of defeating Devon once again than he has against Vitaly Lalatin. And Devon too agreed that Vitaly is really strong. He's the one who pinned him in the first round. So he definitely has a chance against Levan too, but it's not more than 15%. They talked about Vitaly Lalatin's endurance too, which could be a problem for Levan because in their first match, Vitaly had just started gaining weight. They mentioned Vitaly being around 118 kilos in that match. I think he was more than that. He may have been like 125 in that match. In clothes, in shoes, but still he was pretty light, and even that was a heavy weight for him at that time. So the endurance wasn't on point. Now Vitaly has been between 140 to 145 for a long time, and he has given us some endurance battles. So this may become a match. Now Vitaly has a much stronger hand, much better back pressure. Today he's pressing too. Earlier he didn't have a press when he lost his hand to Levan. So maybe if he can stop the match like he did in the first match, maybe he can do something with his flop press. But the thing is that Levan can also flop press. Just in case Levan cannot figure things out, maybe he loses his hand, Levan still is powerful enough to beat Vitaly with a flop press. Later they talked about Devon versus Ivan Matyushenko, and both Neil and Robert believed that Ivan is a 60-40% favorite against Devon. I was surprised to hear that. Although Ivan has shown us that he's really strong, he kind of forced Alijan Muratov to run away in the first round and go for a foul just to avoid something dangerous. He didn't like what he felt from Ivan in the first round. Then later he adjusted and pinned Ivan in a long war. I mean, who causes that much trouble to Alijan Muratov on the left arm? So Ivan is pretty serious. But can he really force the hook on Devon? Is it even possible to force the hook on a king's mover like Devon Larratt? I have a difficult time imagining that. Neil and Robert believe that Ivan's left arm is his better arm. That cannot be said for Devon. Devon's right arm is better. Ivan has better explosiveness. He has better coordination. And these things make him the favorite. Do you guys agree with these predictions of Ivan being 60-40 favorite against Devon and Levan being 60-40 favorite against Vitaly if and when that match happens? And they were also saying that as time progresses, it will be even more difficult for Levan to defeat Vitaly. So he better do it early. Otherwise, he may not be able to do that at all. Purchase the pay-per-view from the link in the description. Use code Pradeep to get 5% off.